Hi everybody, Kevin here. Welcome to the Claremont Classic Garage. I got a couple of little jobs to share with you today, but before we do that, we got to clean up because this place is like a 3-alarm disaster area right now. I haven't been out here a lot lately, and you know, it's a garage. You open the door and fire stuff in. It gets real messy real fast. Anyway, bear with me. I'll be back once I got the place tidied up. All right, so that only took a little bit of time. I've got the bench at least cleared off enough so that we can do some work. What we're going to do today is fix up a bunch of PTO shafts. So this one here that's already apart is from my rear mount snowblower, which is just basically a backup snowblower that I've got kicking around. The problem with this was the plastic shield was missing from it, and you want the plastic shield on there. It protects you from the rotating parts. And the U-joints, well, they're pretty much okay. We bought 2 new ones. They're cheap enough. I see stuff like this clip half coming out. That's bad. So we'll put 2 new U-joints in it. We'll put a new cover on it. And then we can put the snowblower through its paces and see if it works. The next one we're going to fix up is this one here on the floor. It's off our bush hog. Same thing. The cover on it was all broken. Here's our 2 new ones. They are different because the 2 PTO shafts are different. They both take a different style of cover. It took a lot, I mean a lot of reading and looking stuff up to figure out what ones I even needed. It's really intimidating. If you are lucky enough that there's an kind of an old school farm equipment place in your town, it might not be so bad because the parts guy will be familiar with these things and kind of know how to identify the shafts, because there's all kinds of different shafts. There's American, European, metric, standard. And these things are all different. Although there are some universal ones, like these are both basically universal kits. So the first thing we want to check on this one is the condition of this bearing inside the yoke. This has a shear pin in it, right? So you want to make sure that the bushing in there is still good to keep the vibration and shaking and wobbling down to a minimum. First thing we're going to do is put this in the vise and polish up this little shaft here. All right, now we've got that polished up. We'll just slide this over and make sure it fits nicely. Yeah, that's good. Not a ton of play in it. It just goes together nicely. So, this is good to go. Now what we'll do is replace these 2 U-joints. So always a good idea when we're going to start banging and smashing on stuff, get a pair of safety glasses. What you'll normally do with a U-joint to check it is you grab the 2 halves and you twist it. If you feel play when you do that, it's bad. So what we're going to do is you grab these clips with a pair of needle nose pliers. Let me show you. Okay, and we just grab it. And out it comes. So we'll repeat that times 4, and then we'll knock it apart. Now to get it out, we just sit it on top of a socket, and we're just gonna push it until the cup comes out, and then we'll flip it over and push it back the other way till the other cup comes out. Okay, now I got that half of the yoke off. Then we'll just sit this in the vise with the cross on the jaws and knock the other 2 cups out. Now we'll use a flex hone. You can use a bottle brush, whatever you've got, even a piece of emery, and we'll just clean out these bores. Make sure our new U-joint will go in nice and smooth. Just like that. Don't want to take out any material. Just want to clean it up, right? And we'll do the other half too. Alright, so now we can start putting it back together. It's all cleaned up. So you'll notice there's a hole in one side of the new one for a grease fitting, so we want to make sure we put that outboard, because if you put it that way, it'll be inside the tube and you'll have a heck of a time to grease it. So we'll put it that way so we can grease it. So you can see what we've done here. We've pushed the first one in way past the snap ring groove. That gives you enough of the cross sticking out the other side so you can slide the cup over and keep the rollers engaged. So what we'll do now, we'll put this snap ring in, and then we'll flip it over and drive it this way and put the other snap ring in. Now when you're putting your snap ring in, you'll feel it. It's going to have a sharp edge and a round edge. You put the sharp edge down against the cup. There you go. And then we'll make sure it's nice and free. Alright, so the same thing here. We push the yoke all the way to the bottom on the cross and then get the cap started in. Then we'll just tap, tap, tap ever so gently till we get the cap way down below it needs to be, which will have the cross sticking out this end, so we can put this one and tap it in without any danger of the rollers all coming discombobulated. Okay, so we've pushed that cup almost, but not all the way through. So now we can get this one started in and tap it all home. Alright, so same as the other side, we'll go ahead and put this clip in and then drive the U-joint across till it contacts the clip. Okay, now it's all back together. Now we're going to see here, it moves fine that way. It's a little tight that way. So what we're going to do is make sure we set it, I call it. So you just basically grab the thing and you smack, smack, you just smack it all four ways to make sure the cups are out seated against the clips, and that should loosen her right up. There we go. Now it's free as a bird. So we'll go ahead and put our grease fitting in the hole there, and then we can start on the other U-joint. And you want to put your grease fitting so that it kind of points out on an angle, so you can get the grease gun down in between the castings here. Okay, so got that one all done. I'm going to go ahead and change the other one. I'm going to spare you all the gory details of the step-by-step because we just did it. It's the exact same procedure, but on a smaller piece, and I'll be back when that one's done. So this one, you can just feel a tiny amount of play in it, and when you operate it that way, it's smooth, but when you operate it that way, it's a little bit notchy. So there may be a slight bit of what they call brittling on one of the posts, or it may just be dry from lack of grease. We'll find out when we get in there. So all cleaned up, ready to go back together. You can see, here's our old one. You can see how the cross was all rusted, lack of lubrication, plain and simple. So that's alright. She'll be good like new when we're done with it. Okay, so I've gone ahead and slid the two pieces of the shaft together. Got our other U-joint change. So now we're going to assemble this yoke to the rest of it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to grease up this stub, and then we slide this on in this little thrust washer and the circlip, and that'll hold that all together. Then we can measure and figure out what we need for our guard. I decided to pop that yoke back off while I get this thing sorted out, the tube. It just makes it a lot easier to handle. So in our little kit, our bearing kit, they basically give us two different sizes of bearings. And we pick out, I think it's these two, the ones that we need that fit our shaft nicely. Next, we'll measure from here to the end of this. And then we'll mark this from this surface here, where that bearing sits, the same distance, and we'll go downstairs and cut this up, cut this off, pardon me, on my miter saw, so it's nice and square, and then we can install this half. So we'll go ahead, put this back on, put the clip back on, and we'll We'll put a shear bolt through it, and then I'll drop this in, and it can go in there for keeps. So the fun never ends. Next problem I ran into was the head of the shear bolt was hitting here on the inside of this. So I dressed down this boss that sits in a little bit to give it a little room, and it still wasn't enough. So then I took the bolt over to the bench grinder and took about half the head off. We'll see now if we've got enough room. That solved our problem. It's free as a bird now. Outstanding. So now we're going to work on the other end. Same deal as before. We're going to measure from here to here and then cut our other half to length. Because we don't want to be that guy. That guy's in a world of trouble right now. Don't want to be him. That's bad. So it's the same procedure for this side. We found the bearing that fits it nicely. Then we're going to lower it down in here, and then you line up the... One of these things has the little notch in it. See there? That lines up with this. It performs two functions. It locks it in place, and it's a grease point. Perfect. Went together slick as could be. Now we'll stick our other half in, and we can grease it up, and it'll be ready to go back in service. And that's about as perfect you can get it. The shafts are bottomed out in each other, and we've got 3/16 of an inch left. So it's not this that's bottoming out, it's the shaft. Okay, she's all greased up. I'm going to put it aside now, and then we'll start work on the one from the bush hog. Okay, next up we're going to install this one on the drive shaft for the bush hog. So it's the same deal as the other one. They give you a whole mess of bearings here, and you got to figure out the one that fits your shaft. Yep, that's the right one. So I'm going to put some grease on the shaft there, and then we'll go cut the tube to length and get this side put together. All right, so we'll clean up where we cut with some emery, and then you just slide it over and snap these locks in, and you're good to go. Okay, that went together nicely. Now we'll do the same for the other half. All right, so we found the bearing that fits this end. Now we'll do the same thing. Measure from there to there, and we'll to the other end there, and we'll go make our second cut. Okay, so I got that cut to length and got it cleaned up. We'll pull the shaft apart and assemble this the same way we assembled the other one. All righty. There's one for the bush hog all fixed up. Now this last shaft we're going to fix up is from my Kubota snowblower. So what happened to this, at the end of last winter I had some kind of a catastrophic failure with the driveline. I don't know if it wasn't on right or it had come loose or something. But the splines in this yoke got all egged out and it started wobbling all over the place. And then somewhere along the line, the shield, one half of it was turning and the other half wasn't, and it managed to weld itself together. All in all bad. So in the end, I was at the Kubota dealer, and to buy this and this basically cost the same to buy a whole brand new shaft. So I bought a whole brand new shaft. But I said, you know what, I'm going to fix this one up. So I did find an aftermarket supplier for this yoke, and it was like less than half the price of the dealer. And this, we're going to try and repair it and get it back on. I mean, I've got some leftover bits of plastic now from all these other PTO shields that I was working on today. So hopefully we can use some of that and some ABS cement and get this thing back in good shape. All right, so this is the leftovers from one of our other PTO shaft jobs today. And that slides right over there. So that gets us to the right length. So then what I'm going to do is cut this stub off because we don't need that anymore. And then I'll glue that into this end so that the other end of the shaft fits nicely in there. So I'm pretty sure that this stuff is ABS or something close to ABS. So I'm going to go ahead and use ABS cement that we would use plumbing in the house. So first thing we're going to do is glue that on there like that. And then we'll see about getting the other piece in the end. I might have to make like a little sleeve to take up some of the space, but we'll see. So in order to get this thing to fit in there, because you can see it's quite loose, I got another piece of pipe and cut a slit in it. And that fits over there like that. It makes a nice little sleeve. On to plan B. Apparently this is not ABS. It was sitting here for hours and it never stuck. So, I don't know. Is it PVC? I just have no idea what the heck this stuff is. But what I can do is mix up some epoxy and put a few rivets in it. I think that's what I'm going to do. Then I know it'll be on there. It's not as pretty as it was before, but if it stays in one piece, that's good, I guess. So we're going to let this epoxy set up over supper, and then I'll come out. It's ugly, but it sands pretty easy. You can dress the stuff down, and we'll clean it all up. And I've got a couple of sharps sticking out of these rivets, so I'll dress those down, and this thing will be ready to go back in service as a spare. So there we are. Got it all fixed up. It's ready to go back into service. I've also got the proper one that I bought at the dealer. That's the one that I'm using now, and this one will be kept for spare in case this yoke ever fails again. I hope that was a once in a lifetime thing or a 1 in a million thing, but anyway, at least now if it ever happens again, I've got another shaft I can fire on there. Next on the docket is this big pile of stuff. I'm waiting for one more thing to come in. Waiting for a call from the Kubota dealer, and I got to go over there and pick something up, and then we can do something with this pile of stuff. And this pile of stuff here is for the big blue beast. Wow, is it ever windy out? Is stuff rattling and banging out there? Hopefully we get working on the big blue beast again soon too, because I'm tired of looking at it like that. Anyway, that's it for today. It's time to go in and watch the hockey game. And, I don't know, see how the Leafs do tonight. Montreal fired the coach today, Claude Julien, looking for a job. If you can give the guy a job, or hey, if you're qualified, maybe you want to be the coach of the Montreal Canadiens, now's your chance. You got a resume ready? Wow. Hey, if a guy could come out of nowhere and play net and wipe out the Leafs, a guy could come out of nowhere and be the coach of the Montreal Canadiens and win the cup. Who knows? Anything can happen in sports. Anyway, down below there, you'll see there's a subscribe button. I'd really be happy if you hit that. And hit the bell to get notifications when we post a new video. You could leave a comment. You could like this video. And you could share this video. And most importantly, please come back again and watch our videos. We love doing this for you guys. And I hope to see you soon. Anyway, for now, Kevin checking out from the Claremont Classic Garage. So long.